Good to go, Sam.
Great. Can everybody see that, the document that was sent out earlier today?
Yeah.
Great. Just one, the continuing item we have on design and permitting is our Rydot permit. Right now, ball in court with Rydot as they are continuing to coordinate with both the city as well as the shopping plaza across the street. So we are just waiting to hear back on the results of those conversations to confirm that they'll be able to get those easements in place for those adjustments that need to occur at the light. Monthly meeting with building officials. So I think we talked about this last month. We provided, as part of our most recent discussion with them, our temporary heating plan for the winter. And the fire department was inquiring just about where the shutoff locations are going to be. We're basically going to have temporary gas heaters throughout the building so that we can keep the building at the appropriate temperature to allow for the interior work to really ramp up over the winter. My understanding from talking with Eric and the rest of the team is we think that we should have that temp heat ready to turn on by the end of the week. Eric, is that what we're thinking right now based on the gas delivery?
Yeah, that's our projected schedule, is the end of the week for temporary heaters.
And then just as a reminder, we carry an allowance on the owner's side in the project budget for that gas consumption. So the heaters are owned by the construction manager, but the fuel is something that we'll be providing off of our allowances that we have on the construction, or on the owner's budget. We have another meeting next week with the building officials. As everybody may recall, we meet with them on a monthly basis, make sure they're comfortable with progress and they're seeing, and having discussions with both the construction team as well as the OPM. Commissioning updates. We are in recurring meetings on building envelope. We actually had one this morning up on the roof with both Stephen Turner, AI3, Mr. Fiola, ourselves, and Gilbane. So those meetings are ongoing, coming in probably 4 to 5 a month. And then mechanical, electrical, plumbing, while we're still, kind of in the phase we are happening once a month. Major milestones, as we talked about last month, the glazing is ongoing and getting pretty close to completion out there, except for the large kind of what we call the curtain wall assemblies that are happening at the major stair towers and some of the other major pieces on the ground floor. National Grid gas service, as we just mentioned, was installed to the building about a week ago. Now we're just waiting for the final connection out in Pawtucket Avenue. And again, to Eric's point, we believe that should be happening by the end of this week to give us that live gas in the building for that temporary heat source. FF&E is ongoing. We can talk about it a little bit at the end here. We did have some sample furniture, I think, started being delivered today, Eric, is that correct?
Yes, yeah, Tony Fiola was accepting it. First delivery was at 8. I believe the last one is around 1 p.m. this afternoon.
And those pieces are going to be, being tested and looked at by some of the faculty as well as the leadership team at the school. Rooftop units, we'll take a look at a picture of some of those units. That they were in the parking lot last week, and they're already, I think all of them have already been hoisted up onto the rooftop. These are, school bus size pieces of equipment that have all been set in place up on the top of the roof. So we're really starting to get those major mechanicals in place and those startups gearing up about 2 months from now. And then holding steady, millwork and casework, we have scheduled and slated for, right as we turn the corner into 21 in early February. Budget update, I'm just going to zoom out here a little bit. If I can. Maybe I can't.
Bottom right, yeah.
Yeah, because Zoom doesn't let you do all the same. Oops.
You're in Word.
I know I am. Thank you, Eric. I'm glad I have you here.
Not Bluebeam.
Our owner contingency hovering right around 87.9%. And again, these are live numbers. So these are more up to date with the current ATPs that are kind of going through the process and have been approved, as well as ones that are pending. So it's a little bit different than what you'll see in our budget update. Construction contingency, again, this is in the contractors, on the contractor side. We have a balance of about 95.8% remaining in the total contract. And then down in our owner allowances, about 89%. And that includes the utilization of approximately 162,000 against that COVID line item of $1 million, which is rolled up into this 5075. So we're, you know, I'd say we've been being fairly prudent across all of these. We didn't have any new COVID related costs that came in October. That doesn't mean they're not being incurred. It's just we're not seeing them in the requisitions yet. So we're trying to make sure that this reflects what's actually been requisitioned when we look at these owner allowances at the bottom.
Tim, can you tell us what percent complete we are?
Sure. So I think I'll just jump down below here real quick, Gene, if that's okay.
Yep.
So if we look at it from and our best way to do it is kind of look at, you know, what's been paid to date through the requisition and the total cost process. So if we look at what we have been paid to date, and this is through last month, we're at about 37% of the total contract value. That doesn't always perfectly align with where kind of construction is versus where we are from a total standpoint, but I think it gives a good snapshot if you zoom out and look at the building from a macro sense of kind of how far along we are through all the trades and all the activities that are happening on the project. And then if we just go down below, we're at about 39% of our total project costs from a, you know, from an expenditure standpoint. So those two are fairly well aligned when we look at all the AE, the soft costs, the OPM, some of the other items that are there. Eric, I don't know if you want to give a different opinion on project completion stat, you know, from a percentage standpoint.
It's one of those difficult ones because cost is the easiest one to show backup and proof on where we stand. You know, if you walk the building, you can feel it. We do have some big outliers that happen throughout the process that impact the cost line, which would be like delivering of RTUs. Storage of materials, stuff like that, you know, influx that cash line, but doesn't influx the completion percentage. If you would ask me complete percentage, I would say you're between that 33 to 40% of phase one completion, which would be the building itself and the field behind the building.
For the next meeting, Gilbane does track that construction percent complete. If you could add that to your report somewhere starting next month.
Yes.
Yep. An update on kind of our 4-week look ahead. And again, this is back a week, but in October, just as a little bit reverse snapshot, you know, 14 subcontractors were on site pretty much throughout the month, 240 workers per day. So you can tell we're significantly ramping up as folks start to come inside the buildings, and 1,920 man hours per day. So a lot of activities, and I'll just kind of use the pictures again as the narrative around all the work that's going on site. We have, you know, the ongoing development of the athletic fields and the halftime house. The greenhouse is really starting to take shape on the south side of the building. Paint starting to go in the upper floor classrooms on the south end. Glazing really in just about all the classrooms, Eric, at this point.
There's at least a piece of glass in every classroom. Not every glass size has arrived, but there's glass across the whole front and back of the building. Which again will help us with that enclosure to kind of get us weather tight so that we can not only keep out water, but also start that other work. Yeah, go ahead, Joel.
Yeah, before you scroll, in case there is anyone watching or someone here, as Eric pointed out on the last walkthrough, that is tinted primer. That is not the color of the room, that red that you see on the wall. So just trying to get ahead of that. So
major mechanical, electrical components, as I just mentioned, these rooftop units. We were up here this morning walking around doing an inspection of the roof, so you can start to see some of the major pieces of rooftop equipment that sit up there. These were hoisted for the most part, I think, last week with all those connections, interconnections happening as those get set in place. Electrical room, you can start to see that development as well with the major electrical panels, sub-panels, all that work, getting ready also for permanent power, which right now we're projecting hopefully to be happening in December or early January. We're going to wait for an update from Gilbane on what their schedule is telling us. Just a few other snapshots. And again, these start to all look kind of the same, but if you spend some time out on the site, you can really start to see what's happening on that western elevation, the eastern elevation, and then these north and south guys, again, with these major pieces of glass still in the stair towers on either end that are probably the biggest, outlier right now that you see from a glass standpoint, at least from a visible, if you're looking at it from off the property.
They're going to start the south stair tower tomorrow. They're going to have a crane on site is what they told us. And that first piece of curtain wall will go up.
And then just one more shot. I think we'll start to put in here as well is just kind of a rooftop shot looking down at the fields, really, so we can start to see that development as it continues. We have a smaller one up top, but I think this is a good panorama that we can have Mark start to take from up top just to give us a better perspective of the expanse of the field as all those components start to come online. So from a budget standpoint, actually we did, every month we've been showing you adjustments as they have been coming through and materializing through as change orders. We did not have any change orders come through this month, so we don't have any adjustments. So we're holding to the contract value as well as the construction value that you saw last month. We do have another owner's change order that's in the works. So we know that that'll get processed probably early, the next one to 2 weeks. And then that will be reflected next month. Everything else reflects payments through last month as usual, as well as any encumbered to date, which is a large part of the total project total at this point. And then just the backup to the change order log, as you'll see here, no changes in November. So we'll just kind of keep on using this as that tool so everybody can understand, how we've migrated, progressed through each month's change orders. And again, next month we may have several on there depending on what process is in the next 30 days. That is the conclusion of the report.
Sammy, you want to get a little bit, you said you're going to go a little deeper into the FF&E.
Yeah, so Eric, you want to just give a quick snapshot of kind of where we are from a process standpoint so that the broader committee can understand?
So we've received a copy of all the equipment list back. They have been reviewed by our design team. Our design team does have a few comments and questions for clarification purposes. It seems like some of the built-in furniture wasn't accounted for when the equipment was reviewed. We feel like we'll be able to clear that up with just a verbal conversation through some of the questions that are asked. We do have an FF&E discussion tomorrow. We have one at the beginning of December as well. The one at the beginning of December is going to be our next critical one, where we start talking about the samples and mock-up that everyone had an opportunity to review. And we try to make decisions on, what the basis of design is going to be from that point forward. So our early December meeting is really our next critical one, and the mock-up review over the next 2 weeks is going to be important for that conversation.
What is this week? What's the purpose of Thursday's showing there with what was brought in today?
Thursday showing.
Right? Aren't we doing some kind of, what are we doing with what was brought in to the old school today?
Yep, that was Tuesday the 17th. I believe that the subcommittee was going to have an opportunity to review all of the mock-up furniture that was delivered. I would state, though, that the mock-up furniture doesn't necessarily match the colors or finishes of exactly what you're going to get, but more of the intent of the furniture that was readily available that they could deliver. So if it's a blue desk, don't think we're posing a blue desk. That'll be clarified in the next follow-up conversation. But it's more the type of furniture, the quality of the furniture, and what you guys think about the furniture.
So we've got staff and so forth going through on the 17th.
No, we'll probably have the staff looking at it sooner, and I think you're going through on the 17th, right?
It was the subcommittee on the 17th and staff weren't available.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
So we're hoping we have enough staff in the building to go through and look at the furniture after today. And counting.
To Eric's point, can we ask folks not to take pictures that wind up getting posted and then you hear, oh, look at this ugly thing. I
Yeah,
wonder we're $2 million under budget.
yeah, we
Yeah.
can. We will make sure we highlight everything, Nate, and we're gonna take temperatures of people coming in from the outside because we have to be very careful right now for a lot of reasons. Yeah, we're gonna
And
take.
that's why we selected Tuesday the 17th, because the building does a deep clean on Wednesdays. So
Yeah.
we figured any visitor that passed the COVID compliance test prior to getting into the building, there were no students or faculty left at that point, and then they would go through its normal deep clean on Wednesday. So we weren't incurring any additional cost of the building. It would fall within their normal cleaning sequence.
Mhm. So Toby and I will get together tomorrow or Wednesday and we'll start scheduling, faculty members down there with criteria.
Okay. Any other questions from the members on that? And thanks, Sam, as always. Very thorough. And that piece that Carlos sent out, I really like, that's a nice, kind of 30,000 foot view of everything that's going on. And, I think when you talk about man hours and, that one chart that shows the total number of hours and, obviously the safety component. People did ask, the community was concerned about that one noted incident. And my understanding is it wasn't anything major, but again, it's pretty impressive when you look at the number of days and the safety level, that is being, taken on that site.
Well, and I think also just kind of the COVID, they had that spot inspection, Eric, 2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago, Friday.
Yep. And I think passed with maybe flying colors is not the right word, but they got a strong review from, I don't know if it was DOH or DBR, but
Oh, yeah.
just, and they didn't know that those folks are coming. So they weren't, they didn't just get ready for it.
Nice. All right, if there are no other questions, we've got invoices. Craig, I want to hand that to you that you can run through. We were all sent the invoices. Sharon had included them in the email.
Sure. So for AI3 basic services, $122,474.84. Building company, $6,954,160.45. Paragon Group LLC, $59,000, and Stephen Turner Inc., $5,280.85, for a total of $7,140,916.14.
Before we go into a vote on that, Sam, would it be possible for you to share that budget page up again real quick from the OPM report? Unless you socked it away somewhere.
Nope. Give me 1 second. Everybody see that? You see that, Nate?
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. So paid to date is the total at the bottom, 73 million and change.
Yep.
Plus the number that Craig just read, correct?
Correct. Yeah. So your paid to dates is always a month behind in our budget because it's what has actually been already approved by you and in theory funded.
So that takes us to about 81 million.
Plus or minus. Yep.
Yeah. So just a quick question, and this wasn't part of this discussion, but I know that Carlos sends us the regular kind of PM updates from just the Gilbane side.
Yep.
There's a substantial difference between what Carlos is tracking as billed and paid versus what we're showing as billed and paid. What's the reason for that?
So their totals include retainage not paid.
Oh, okay,
So
all right.
we're specific that that's excluded here, and for folks that understand retainage, for every bill that the subcontractor sends Gilbane, retainage is held back and not paid. So what we want to make clear is that people don't have a false sense of, oh, we've already paid this much, when in fact you haven't, because has been withheld. So that's why you have that delta.
Got it. Thank you.
So his is showing, what they're recording in anticipation of getting the full payment.
Correct. Yep. Because in theory, that work is in place, so they are
Right.
billing for it. They're claiming that work complete and the total cost associated with that, and then the retainage then comes off of that at the line by line. So if you've ever looked at every single requisition, all the pages, you'll see that backup where all those lines, there's a retainage column on the right of all the subcontractors and then the roll up.
Okay.
Just for the benefit of everyone in the group, the reason I was looking for percent of construction complete is so, and I know you see this in your monthly reports, Sam, is reconciling paid to date versus the percentage paid to date versus construction complete, and make sure we're not in the red here.
Well, yeah, I mean, every month, as folks know, or if they don't know, we do an exhaustive review of that requisition. So if we just take retainage out of it for a second, we do that exhaustive review to ensure that line by line, we and the AE team are in agreement with the amount being billed by every sub, and then how that all rolls up in the total schedule of values. So in theory, Gene, we would never be out, they would never be out in front of us.
I know that.
It's going to be protecting that line item.
Yeah, I know that. I just wanted as
Good to show.
I think it's a good thing to show. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
No, and it's an important point for those of us who are not thinking about that type of thing all the time, right? You could get a challenge where somebody says, all right, you're 40% spent, but you've only completed 25% of the building and you're 4 months behind schedule. So, you're never going to get to the end of the budget.
Any other questions? Hey, Sharon, you have that also, that request from Gene to have that added, correct? Just kind of make a note of that, the Gilbane percentage complete.
Is that what the wording is, Gilbane?
I can share it with you. They do it based on financial status as well. And this month, Gilbane views it as 43.3% complete.
But we will put it in the future reports, though.
Yeah.
Got it.
Thank you. So any other questions on the invoices? Do we have a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Mr. Vinatero? Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by, I'm going to give it to Mr. Wagan. I saw the hand go up. Yeah. And all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay, that passes. So we will forward that to the school committee for tomorrow. And we have the minutes again in that meeting. In that email from Sharon was a copy of last meeting's minutes. Any comments, discussion, questions? Having none. Do we have
Joel?
a motion to? Yes.
Tomorrow night's meeting, I haven't looked at the agenda. Is there anything specific about the school other than the standard run-of-the-mill update, payment of invoices, or? Okay.
Yeah.
Because I'm not going to be able to pay attention to, we got a council meeting at the same time, so.
Okay. Yeah, no, it's pretty standard.
Okay.
So do we have a motion to approve the minutes of the October 12th meeting?
So moved.
Superintendent Crowley, do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Toby, Mr. Principal Gibbons. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? All right. That passes there. So next meeting date. we have, it's gonna be what? That's gonna be,
December 7th.
Number 7.
wow.
Seventh?
Already.
Oh, yeah, because it's the.
Yeah,
first-
Monday's the 7th. Any,
Mm-hmm.
do we have any objection to December 7th for that next meeting?
It wouldn't be the 14th, the second Monday of the month.
No, because it's the second Tuesday is that.
Yeah. Because the 1st is the first Tuesday, and so the 8th will be the second Tuesday, so that'll be our scheduled school committee meeting will be the 8th.
So Sandy, you'll just need to update that, I guess, on with your invite.
Good catch on that. Okay, any issues with that 7th?
No.
Okay, so that will be, next meeting will be December 7th. Same time, 6:30.
Mhm.
And is anything else? All right. Everybody's doing well. That's good. Thanks for coming out, spending time with us. We have, great things going on. Again, I always say thank you to you guys and had the opportunity again over the past couple of weeks to brag about the level of talent that we have, on this building committee. And it shows in those numbers, the discussion on the budget. I think, it's as Sam and Eric have told us that, there aren't many building committees that are operating to this level. So I appreciate everything that everyone's doing. And I know that, those that are paying attention, those that actually know that we're building a new high school. Appreciate what we're doing. So with that, any other comments or questions?
Nope.
We'll take a motion to adjourn.
Make a motion.
That was Mr. Oakland and Mr. Amoroso on a second. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right, folks. Hey, have a good night. Thanks again. And be well.
You say.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Stay safe.
Yeah.